Hello, folks. Bit of an update. I've been a bit lacking on content recently, simply because I'm injured, so it's a bit awkward at the minute. Somehow I managed to sprain my wrist, get golfer's elbow, and as you can tell, a little bit tennis elbow at the same time. I don't know whether to be impressed or not, if I'm honest. Impact injuries suck. Um, Basically, I hit something uh, and it affected all of that. So, in the meantime, this is going to be some book recommendations essentially. So, let's get started. My first book recommendation, one I recommend a lot of people should get, if not everyone, is Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Very good little book to have. Um, some sound advice in here. I like Stoicism. I'm not the biggest advocate of full on Stoicism. I do believe that true Stoic philosophy, like follow to its adherents, I think it leaves you vulnerable to manipulation in some aspects. I do think certainly take bits of it. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I certainly do think bits of Stoicism should be taken. I don't think it should be taken as a full, uh, without sounding to be a bit silly, a pure Stoic, like Marcus Aurelius probably was the closest to a pure Stoic we'll ever get. In fact, I think he's probably really, he maybe probably is the only really the true Stoic we got. But there's certainly some handy little tidbits of advice in here. I would certainly recommend people do take. It's very well written. It's not the biggest book in the world, but it's got a little bit of a background behind Marcus Aurelius himself. Goes into some of the things he says in here, some of the lines and notes of all sorts. All the books he wrote. I think there's 12 or 11 books, I believe he wrote about Stoicism. I do recommend, you know, you read it. There's certainly something you don't have to agree with everything he says. I certainly don't agree with everything he says, but there's a lot I do agree with everything he says. And you can take this as a launch pad to forming your own philosophy and outlook on life. I certainly did. It's helped me make me a better person. I've got to stop doing that. Sorry. um, it's not as it's not as bad as it was. It's sort of stuck like that at the moment. I've got some moving back in it, but beforehand it was just terrible. I actually managed to get a full sleep last night. I think I slept 7 hours. Um, the 5 nights before that, I think I managed about four. That's how discom how much discomfort I was in. No matter what I did, it was just could not get comfortable. Um, yeah, that's about that. So it serves me right. So yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I use this as a launch pad for my own philosophy. I am a heathen. Um, I don't really like using the term heathen or pagan because it's a Christian term, but for just for ease of elucidation, we shall use that term. So I follow the Celtic pantheon primarily because that's who I'm descended from. Which makes me annoyed when everyone goes, typical Anglo, when think I'm 90% Celtic, basically. So yeah, just one, um, and this one literally did it set me on the path I am now. A couple of quotes in here, and this is one of them. This is 31 of book 6. Sober up, recall yourself, shake off sleep once more, Realize they were mere dreams that troubled you, and now that you're awake again, look on these things as you would have looked on a dream. I think that's a sound bit of advice that many people should adhere to, like a lot in here. But that's Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Believe me, this was incredibly hard to track down in a local bookstore. Uh, like many things, if I wanted a dozen editions of the Quran, they were in there in abundance. But actual Western philosophy, nah. My second recommendation I will make is again from a Roman Stoic philosopher, arguably one of my favorite, if not my favorite of them all. This is one of his books. Again, this was hard to track down. You know, so trying to track these down in a bookstore is rarer than rocking horse shit. You know, but this is How to Win an Argument by Marcus Tullius Cicero. Very, very good ways to prepare for a debate already. Yeah, and how to make yourself be noticed in a speech too. The projection of your voice, your rhetoric, especially the verbiage you use, how to remain composed, how to keep your edge. I've read this. I've read it once. I need to go over it again. In fact, I would recommend you read it several times over for the rest of your life. So this goes into basically Cicero's life. Very, very interesting. There is a YouTuber by he's far more known than me. Goes by Raise the Fist or the Rageaholic. He did a short video about Cicero. Highly recommend it. I knew a little bit about him beforehand, but that was through the BBC drama called Rome, which put him in a very different light to how he actually was. It's a good show, but it's a bit inaccurate of its depiction of Cicero. I have to admit, it's a bit disappointing when you read his actual works. He's a lot different. I do recommend this. I really do. There's some sound advice in here. Just a little passage, I suppose. Rhetoric and truth. Unlike a modern day debate, or political debate anyway, is just anecdotes and feelings. This is far different. The power wielded by a skillful speaker who knows how to persuade through artful speech and appeal to human emotions is, as outlined earlier, a powerful weapon. There you go. And bearing in mind, Cicero is one of the greatest orators to have ever lived, so I take his advice on board. My next recommendation, this is from a man called Stephen Kotkin. I highly recommend his series. I've only got one book in the series, and this one blew my mind away. This is Stalin Paradoxes of Power. This goes into what Stalin was actually like and what actually happened behind closed doors, so to speak. And Stephen Kotkin got all of this information from the KGB archives when they opened up, I believe, in 91, 92. I think it was early 90s at some point. So everything in here is literally written down by the Soviet Union. This goes into part one, is I think how he rose to power and what he was actually like. There's this because what you find with communists is that they'll go that well, I've heard this. I've been privy to conversations like it too, where they'll just say that Stalin was nothing but a power grabber. He here we go again. He wasn't a true communist. He didn't actually have communism in his mind. He just wanted power. When basically this details in a lot of vivid detail. That's not true. He was a full-on communist. This explains, has transcripts that Stalin himself said was written at meetings. This is a very, very eye-opening book. I highly recommend you read this book. It will, even if you are a socialist, communist, whatever, I highly recommend you read these books. They are very, very important, and unfortunately, get it while it lasts, because books like this, with the way censorship is going, they won't be around for much longer. That's why I'm getting these, because they're going to be taken down. When obviously he's not president now, but when Trump was in his last days of office, they actually shut down the sitting president of the United States. They're not going to care about an author going about the truth of Stalin, are they? So get it. Get all of these books, because we do not have a lot of outlets that are like us. We do not have an outlet. If I didn't have to go through Amazon, I wouldn't have got this, but I literally cannot find this anywhere else but at bloody Amazon. Okay? I try my hardest not to go through Amazon to get books, but unfortunately, I didn't have a choice. And when the only recourse we have to get these kind of books is through Amazon, and Amazon stopped doing it, they're lost. They're gone. Valuable information is gone. So, recommend this. Stephen Kotkin. Okay, he has 2 more books. One of them is called Waiting for Hitler, which goes into the Stalin Hitler ceasefire, the ones that communists don't like to talk about. And the other one, I believe, is about the Cold War. So recommend it. I need to get those 2. I've read a part of the second one. Very, very interesting. So recommend it. Highly recommend it. I have 2 more to give to you. This one's probably going to get me demonetized, but never mind anyway. This is Patrick J. Buchanan's Death of the West. This, to me, was my red pill. I don't like using that term, but it's modern day, and if I tried to use it any other way, they won't understand. So this opened up my eyes a lot. And it's hard to deny what he's writing in here isn't coming true. I just go to the big town down the road from me, and you'll see it in abundance. It's worrying. What he's written in here, shall I say, is happening. I don't know how people. You will hear lots of stuff about this book, how it's inherently racist and stuff like that, which means that it's not. What isn't racist these days? What isn't fascist? What isn't racist? What isn't misogynistic? So I'd read it. I highly recommend you read it. But this is an excerpt from the book. Record these videos, because I'm sure they're going to be taken down. As a growing population has long been a mark of healthy nations and rising civilizations, falling populations have been a sign of nations and civilizations in decline. If that holds true, Western civilization, power and wealth aside, is in critical condition. For, like the Cheshire Cat, the people of the West have begun to fade away. Isn't that the truth? This goes into Western society dying through collapsing birth rates in Europe and the United States. Look at South Africa, Australia to a degree too. Our birth rates are low. So our culture's been under attack. Our morals are under attack. You just look at how in Sweden, when they're defending these people who are going around raping women, and that goes, oh, that's just their culture. Yeah, but that might be their culture back in the Middle East, but this is Europe. We have our own culture, we have our own morals, and they're not compatible. So guaranteed they're going to be flagged as a Nazi for saying this. May I just say categorically, I do not support fascism whatsoever, but that's not ever going to stop them calling me one. So Anyway, so that is a book I do recommend. Remember, Patrick J. Buchanan, The Death of the West. Again, get it while you still can. Even if you are not into politics, which I know some of the people who watch my channel aren't, I recommend getting it so we have this knowledge, okay? Because we have to have history, all right? We cannot let them take away our history. We have to teach this to our children, our grandchildren, and they need to teach it, so on and so forth. And they can only teach it if we keep it. So, recommend it. My last book, and this is the biggest red pilling I have ever had. Okay, in this term, I mean, granted, I'm more of a white pillar these days, but this is from M. Stanton Evans. Okay, this is Blacklisted by History: The Untold Story of Senator Joseph McCarthy and his fight against America's enemies. Now, I don't know if you know about Joseph McCarthy. He was a senator who inquested into the called the McCarthy hearings into communists infiltrating America, the film industry, and the unions, stuff like that, which we know is true. It's evidently true. There's no denying it. And basically, this goes into how all the lies about Joe McCarthy back at the time. And if you actually look at the election coverage, the voter fraud coverage specifically, about how they claim to be, like 100 hours worth of evidence of voter fraud, and it turns out to be nowhere near that number, but it's still evidence. There was it's just a brief little bit about it, about this book. There was a newspaper article, I think it's Missouri, Mississippi, somewhere like that. I could be wrong. I've only read this once, and that was a little while ago. I need to go through it again, admittedly. But basically, a newspaper clipping stated that Joe McCarthy had a list of over 100 different informants. And when it actually came time to it, I think he had 7 or 8. So basically, most of the public were like, oh, he's clearly full of shit. Because he claims to have over 100 when in reality he only has 7 or 8, so he's a liar. McCarthy never actually said this. Joe McCarthy never ever said he had over 100, the names of over 100 different communist infiltrators. So when the author went to go find the newspaper in question, well, at least the article that was in there, it'd been removed. And he searched high and low all across the country, and he could not find a trace of it. He then went to the Library of Congress. Now, the Library of Congress has everything recorded in it, as far as I'm aware. And only congressmen can go in there and stuff like that. So, again, this is what I'm aware of. I could be misinformed on that front because I'm English, not American. But he went in there to go find it. And someone had actually removed the specific article from this newspaper. He found the paper, but the actual page and the article was removed. Someone had gone in there and had literally altered history. And I think it's remarkably cliched, but think back to 1984 when and specifically when his job is to go back through history and alter it to suit the government. Are you getting it yet? Are you getting it yet? So I do recommend it. Again, I had to get it through Amazon. I couldn't find it anywhere else. But as it's on Amazon, yes, I know you're giving money to Amazon, but get it. We have to keep this stuff because it will be gone. And that's another victory for them. And we cannot allow them to have another victory like this. Keep this. Do not let it go. Read it. Make notes, reread it for as long as you bloody well live, and read it to your children, your grandchildren. Keep it alive. We have to. Okay? Because if we don't push back, we don't keep this stuff. And not just like political stuff, but I mean, just normal books in general. we can't have it. I mean, I got, where is it? I'm trying to find it. I've been reading it just now. Um, you know, like stuff like this. I got a book on Scottish clans and tartans. It took me ages to track this down. But this is our history, and they will remove it. I'm not being funny, but I'm an Englishman with Scottish clan roots, okay? And I know more about Scottish clans and the history of Scotland than most Scots, because they're not taught it, you know? And it's worrying. You know, it really is worrying. Because their goal is for us not to have an identity, not to have a history, not to remember who we are and who we've been. And I'm hoping that we can use who we are and who we've been to focus it into who we're going to be. And I'm hoping that we use our wisdom from the past, valuable, in fact, invaluable, like, priceless. You can't put a price on wisdom from the past, good wisdom that we should be using in today's society. Unfortunately, no one knows about it. Like Cicero, like Marcus Aurelius, like Socrates, Plato, etc., etc. I could go on. No one knows about it. I mean, obviously people do know about it, but most of the population don't know about it. The amount of people I know who have never heard of Cicero outside of Skyrim, and that's an overrated piece of shit as well. That's right, I said it. No one knows about it. And it's worrying. These great people are being forgotten, and they could help us so much. So much. And I know I'm getting a bit irate over it, but I hold these like books such high value. I really do, because the more people read, the better we'll be. It's alarming when you have people like, I mean, I remember when I was growing up. I don't know if any of you remember the Big Brother TV show. The one of the worst things ever invented. Basically, there I remember watching people. They were sat down and they were watching them sleeping. They were literally, like, the people on the show were literally in bed asleep, and they were watching them sleeping. I mean, isn't isn't that just a little bit alarming? Instead of going out, maybe, I don't know, just like, I don't know, doing the puzzle, or going and sitting out in the garden and just listening to the wind, they'd rather watch a load of puss and slags sleeping in a like on television. Like, there's nothing going on. They're probably snoring and fucking farting. That's what they're doing, and they, you know what I mean? It's just, sorry to get off topic, but it does mean a lot to me. I'm very passionate when it comes to preserving knowledge and wisdom from our past, our culture, not just like British culture, but American culture, Scandinavian culture, German, French. It all needs to be preserved in every aspect, because it's who we are. And we have to have an identity. Otherwise, what's the point? You have to know who you are, where you're from. Okay? It's more, it's like Morris dancing. I hate Morris dancing, I really do, but I want to keep it going because it's an English tradition. It's like cricket. I despise cricket. It puts me in a coma just watching the broadcasting title opening. But I want to keep it alive because it's a part of English, British culture. I don't know if it's a thing up in Scotland. I don't think there's enough blood for it to be popular in Scotland. But it's who we are. And every single book every single television show, every single film, every single game. Well, not modern day anyway, but anyway, I digress. Every single one I've seen where they've had a dystopian future where the people are enslaved and there's big overarching government, the one thing they've always done is take away our past, our culture, and our identity. So please, please seek out books like this, read them to your heart's content, preserve what we have before they take it away. Okay? Thank you for watching. Again, once I'm getting better, I'll hopefully have some more content for you outside as soon as I can, because we've actually got some nice days in a minute, but I can't really go anywhere because obviously, a bit banged up. But thank you. I hope you take what I'm saying to, well, at least listen to what I'm saying anyway. So thanks everyone. See you in the next video. Take care. Hope you have a nice weekend, and I'll see you soon.